Um, I wanted to sing a song, and I usually don't like to bring cell phones in the temple, but just by a show of hands, it's a small bhajan. Does anybody have cell phones with them? Do you have your cell phones with you? A lot of devotees do, some don't in the back. So if you can pull out your cell phones, and in Google search bar, you just type Gauranga Karuna Koro. Gauranga is spelled as Gauranga, Karuna Koro. And if you scroll down, there is a website called kksongs.org, krishnakirtansongs.org, and you'll find it. And those who are familiar with these words, they will not find it very difficult. It's a small bhajan, just with 5 couplets. So we'll sing this. Found it, Sumit?
No.
Okay, can I? Gauranga Karuna Koro. You found it, please? Okay, good. You found it,
Yeah.
Shadabhaj? Okay, so we'll start. I need kartals. Gauranga Karuna Koro Dinahina Jane Mosama Patita Prabhu Nahi Tribhuvane.
Gauranga Karuna Koro Dinahina Jane Mosama Patita Prabhu Nahi Tribhuvane.
Gauranga Karuna Koro Dinahina Jane Mosama Patita Prabhu Nahi Tribhuvane.
Gauranga Karuna Koro Dinahina Jane Mosama Patita Prabhu Nahi Tribhuvane.
Dante Trinadhari Gaura Daki He Tomara Kripa Koriye So Amar Hridaya Mandire.
Dante Trinadhari Gaura Daki He Tomare Kripa Kariye So Amar Hridaya Mandire.
Yadi Doyana Koribe Patita Dekhiya Patita Pavana Nama Kisera Lagiya.
Jari Narayana Karibe Patita Dekhiya Patita Bhavana Nama Kisera Lagiya.
Padchi Bhava Tufane Nahika Nistara Shri Charana Tarani Dane Dase Karapara.
Padchi Bhava Tufane Nahika Nistara Sri Charana
Dase Karapara. Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Daseranudasa Prarthana Koro He Sada Narottam Dasa.
Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu दासेरानुदासा प्रार्थना करे सदा नरोत्तमदासा
Gauranga Karuna Koro Dinahin Jane Mosama Patita Prabhu Nahi Tribhuvane
Gauranga Karuna Koro Dinahina Jane Mosamapatita Prabhu Nahi Tribhuvane
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare
Hare Krishna
Bolo Hari Bolo
Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare
Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare
Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare
Hare Krishna Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama.
Radha Natbar, Radha Natbar, Radhe.
Jaya Radha Natbar, Radha Natbar, Radhe.
Jaya Jagannath, Jaya Jagannath, Jaya Baladev, Jaya Subhadra.
Jaya Jagannath, Jaya Jagannath, Jaya Baladeva, Jaya Subhadra.
Jaya Gauranita, 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 Jaya Gauranita.
Jaya Gauranita, 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 Jaya Gauranita.
Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada.
Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Prabhupada.
Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada.
Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Prabhupada.
Hare Hare. Om Jnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manavishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Utapadakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavanscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunatam Vidam Tam Sajivam Sadhvetam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhan Vitamsha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Pri Vanchakalpatarubhascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Namam Vishnupadaya Krishna Preshthaya Bhutale Shrimati Bhakti Vedanta Swami iti Name Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine. Hare Krishna. So seeking your blessings and your permission, especially Mother Kamagiri's dust of her lotus feet. I'd like to say a few things about this topic called the modes of material nature. Bhagavad Gita has 700 verses, out of which 155 verses, almost 20% of Bhagavad Gita, more than that, Krishna only talks about modes of material nature. Chapter 14, chapter 17 and chapter 18 is dedicated only to modes of material nature. And as an exercise, if you want, you can read these 3 chapters this week. It's very easy, very simple to understand. Krishna talks about different activities in different modes of nature. There are 3 modes of nature: ignorance, passion, and goodness. Tamas, Rajas, and Sattva. Krishna talks about work. Work. What is work in ignorance, passion, goodness? What is food? What is sacrifice? What is charity? What is austerity? Even sleeping. He talks about relationships in these 3 different modes of nature. And Krishna extols us, he tells Arjuna that this mode of goodness is enlightening. And the message of Gita is that one should uplift oneself to the mode of goodness. Because from that mode, one can make further progress into a final mode called the mode of transcendental goodness or Vishuddha Sattva. In that mode, one can see Krishna face to face. One becomes eligible to going back home, back to Godhead. And that mode is called the mode of transcendental goodness. But in order to get there, Krishna explains that it is very important to cultivate in our speech, in our sleep, in our eating, mode of goodness. So I have explained a little basic principles of modes of material nature. Bhagavad Gita chapter 14, 17 and 18. And in addition, there are many verses which deals with guna. They are also called guna. Guna means quality. Innate quality of being. And Krishna makes it very simple in Bhagavad Gita. He says, whatever mode one finds oneself in, these are not very beautiful word jugglery. He said, whatever mode you are in, if you engage yourself in devotional service and use that mode to serve me, then you will become purified of the modes themselves. So mode of ignorance, absolutely no problem. Absolutely no problem. One can use one innate qualities and one innate nature and innate propensities in serving Krishna. Krishna speaks a very beautiful verse in 13th chapter of Gita. Mam avyabhicharena bhakti yogena sevate. Mam, me. Avyabhicharena, meaning undivided. Vyabhichar means divided. Avyabhichar means undivided. Mam avyabhicharena bhakti yogena sevate. Sevate, one who renders service in bhakti yoga. Sagunan samatit yaitan. He will overcome all modes. Brahma bhuyaya kalpate. And he will attain Brahman. So, being influenced by modes of material nature is not a disqualification. I'd like to welcome our guest. Please have a seat. Hare Krishna. So modes themselves are no disqualification. In fact, as you will realize probably throughout the duration of this talk, most of us in Kali Yuga, in this Prakriti, are influenced by mode of ignorance and passion. And we are performing devotional service. So slowly and slowly, like a fan which is turning, and you turn the plug out, take the plug out, and very, very slowly it will stop. Now, when I give this analogy, people think fan will automatically stop in a few minutes. So the action of modes of nature will also stop in a few years. It actually takes a long, long time. It depends upon one's sukriti from his previous lives. It depends upon one's intensity of service. It depends upon one's circumstances. But it can also be a multi-life process. But there is nothing to lose heart in, because what is 3 lifetimes compared to the cosmic life of Brahma? Nothing, right? So just one clarification. Now I'll approach the modes of material nature from a paradigm. And I want you to just take this paradigm today. This is the message today. What is the fundamental? We all want happiness, yes? We all want happiness. So the fundamental drive is that I want to be useful, I want to be productive, I want to be happy, I want happiness, I want to accomplish something. This is a natural drive. A person who is influenced predominantly by mode of ignorance, his mental thought process, his psychological bicycle, something which drives him, something which motivates him, something which gives him meaning, is on a fundamental paradigm of have, do, be. Have meaning, I'll give you an example. If I have money, then I will able to buy a house, which is a do, and then I will be happy. If I have a nice partner, or not a sucky partner like my partner, or a more wonderful partner, then I will be able to express, then I will be able to do, enjoy in various ways, and then I will be able to express my love, affection. As it is, there is something missing in my life, and I need something. If I have that position or this education, then I will be able to do this, and then I will become happy. Right now, I'm not happy. But if some external thing will change in the environment, or if I will get something, or if I will come out of my debt, or if I will have enough money, then I will be able to do these things, and then I will be happy. In Vedas, this mode is described as a donkey, an ass. When a washerman wants the ass to move fast, he dangles a carrot in front of him. And the ass thinks, I'm going to get a carrot. So he kind of moves forward, but the carrot also moves forward. And he continues like this. If you deeply, deeply evaluate, what you will find is the deeper anarthas of life, you will find some degree of tamas. This is called ignorance. If I have a nice car, then I will be fulfilled. If I have a beautiful house, bigger than everyone else, then I will be fulfilled. If I have so much in my 401k, then I'll be happy. If I have this, I'll do this, and by that doing, I'll become happy. This, according to Vedas, according to Bhagavad Gita, is the lowest mode of nature, called mode of ignorance. Mode of ignorance is characterized by darkness. It is characterized by inertia. It is characterized by not having gratitude for things as it is. A fundamental quality of this mode is I never stop to smell the roses. I'm never happy. I'm never satisfied. There is no contentment. There is no gratitude. And another fundamental quality of mode of ignorance is lamentation. Complaining. Finding faults with nature and the environment around me. Brahma Bhuta Prasannatma. So in goodness, when one comes to Brahman, when comes to an enlightened state of consciousness, he becomes Prasannatma. He becomes joyful. Bhagavad Gita uses the word joyful. Samha sarveshu bhuteshu. Samha sarveshu bhuteshu means he sees the pains and pleasures of every living entity as his own, including a tree or an ant. Mat bhakte labhate param. In that state of enlightened consciousness, he attains bhakti towards me. Can anyone of you identify this with this thought process in mind? If I have this, then I will do this, and then I will be happy. And to overcome his inherent ignorance, he has to take drugs. Because fundamentally, he's unhappy. He has to smoke, drink, fight, quarrel, sleep, eat to overcome his essential state of being. He has to watch video games. He has to do everything from Facebook to sex life and everything in between to feel contented. Because the psychological wheel is, if I can score so much on my video game, then I will be happy. If I can eat that pastry, if I can have that pastry, then I can do it, I can enjoy it, and then I'll be happy. All of this is considered, according to Bhagavad Gita, the lowest state of psychological existence, characterized by ignorance, tamas. Tamas is characterized by sinful activity. No matter how much he prays or does things or do things, he's going to be driven by sinful activities.
Explain that, Prabhu. What do you mean by driven by sinful activity?
The essential psychological feeling, I am not complete, I am not whole, I am not joyful, I am not blissful, I have no inherent worth, I am lacking in something, so I need to do something to be happy. That is ignorance. A little bit above that, in ignorance, I need to have something. There is a sense of entitlement. Have you ever seen somebody? If only the government did this for me. If only my boss, if only I had this. It starts with a sense of entitlement. I need to have something. Then I will do something. Then I will become happy. In passion, in a fundamental paradigm, the fundamental psychological paradigm, a person in passion is driven by activity. He thinks, well, if I do something first, then I will have something, and then I will be something. As opposed to lamentation, the fundamental mode is hankering. As opposed to lamentation or dwelling in the past, also the psychological activity of dwelling in the past, carrying resentment, carrying loads of unforgiveness, thinking if this could, would could, what could. This is all characteristic of ignorance. But in passion, the person plans for future. He has some activities he had planned. By doing this, I will have this, and that having will make me happy. So whereas ignorance is characterized by lamentation and dwelling in the past, passion is characterized by some ideal, some objective which a person lives for. Something which will give meaning to life. In have consciousness, I need money and I need it right now. I need drugs and I need it right now. In passion, one has an ideal, one has an objective, and he derives meaning from that. the focus is on activity. I will do this, 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 then I will have this, 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 then I will be happy. The third and the final mode which Krishna advocates in Bhagavad Gita, in no less than 25% of Gita, is he characterizes, first he tells Arjuna to attain a state of being. Arjuna, be free from dualities of happiness and distress. Be transcendental to happiness and distress. I'll read you one verse from Bhagavad Gita where Krishna talks about being. 13.8 to 13.12, very 5 verses together, very beautiful verses. He says, he characterizes a state of being, a state of existence. This being, the focus and the psychological wheels which drives happiness is good character, simplicity, virtue, honesty, integrity. What drives him on a day-to-day level is a state of being. Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, humility, pridelessness, non-violence, tolerance, simplicity, approaching a bona fide spiritual master, cleanliness, steadiness. If you look at the lives of spiritually enlightened people, you will find a very humble life. It is devoid of doing and having for a very prolonged period of time. Radhanath Swami talks about Ghanshyam Baba, a story of Ghanshyam Baba. It's there on YouTube. A Baba who he says is the most elevated devotee he met. Steadiness. Steadiness against all odds, against the fluctuations of nature, against the fluctuations of mind, against happiness and distress. Absence of false ego. Freedom from entanglement with children, wife, home, and the rest. Doesn't mean you cannot have it, but entanglement, excessive attachment. Even-mindedness amongst pleasant and unpleasant events. Aspiring to live in a solitary place. Detachment. Accepting the importance of self-realization and philosophical search for absolute truth. Look at what Krishna says as he finishes this verse. All these I declare to be knowledge. And besides this, whatever there is ignorance. Philosophical search for absolute truth, steadiness, tolerance, humility. He says, besides this, whatever there is ignorance. This state of being comes from regular practice of meditation, regular chanting, regular practice, spiritual practice. Because as I can, I might find myself twittering between ignorance and passion. Ignorance is pulling in one direction, passion. It's like a real drama, Goodness, the person's happiness, his meaning of life, his state of existence, the psychological wheels which drive him, comes from a state of consciousness, a state of being. In that state of consciousness, he feels, I'll read you one verse from Ishopanishad. The personality of Godhead is perfect and complete, and because he is completely perfect, all emanation from him, we are his emanation, such as this word, are perfectly equipped as complete whole. Whatever is produced of the complete whole is also complete in itself. Meaning, I don't need anything to be happy. In goodness, a person feels not lacking in anything. There is no want which has to fulfill every day. Because he's the complete whole, even though so many complete units emanate from him, he remains the complete balance. My best memories are just playing with my parents or hanging out with friends and having meaningful discussion. It's a state of being. That what doesn't need anything extraneous to be happy. I am part and parcel of God, and I am complete and full in myself. From that state of consciousness, from that state of being, he does things. He do things. But that doing is not sinful. That doing is not frantic. That doing is not agitating. That doing, in passion, this doing inevitably leads to misery. In ignorance, having, doing, and being is all misery. From beginning to end, it's misery. In goodness, this doing proceeds from a state of being, an enlightened state of consciousness. Srila Prabhupada says you should get up and chant in the morning. Then whatever you do it as service to Krishna. I want to talk a little bit about doing. So then what is actually doing? According to the Vedas, our essential nature, our essential dharma, like the dharma of fire is to burn, dharma of water is to be wet, the dharma of every living entity is to render service. It is very important to this doing that the dharma of a living entity is service, to serve others. So when a person from a state of being, he does something, he asks a question, is this service to God, is this service to Krishna and his part and parcels? If not, he doesn't do it. He can buy a house, no problem. But that house is a service, is a temple of Krishna. Prabhupada says in marriage, the husband and wife should not come together to ask for their own happiness. They should come together so that others can be happy. So that by their union, others can become happy. The question in goodness is, when I do something, is this pleasing to Guru, pleasing to Krishna? Is this authorized by scriptures? And is this going to be a service to God and his counterparts? Is it going to be a complete whole? Is it going to be a service to complete whole? Because the essential nature of the living entity is to serve. And that doing does not create any bondage. That doing creates happiness. Having. In such a state of existence, naturally, the universe has a mechanism of working in a way that when somebody is positive, enlightened, happy, fulfilled, as opposed to needy, greedy, things naturally come to him. Good relationships, whatever wealth is his quota, it naturally flows to him. And when things naturally flow to you, then you accept, according to Ishopanishad, whatever is your quota and give the rest back to from where it came from. You only accept what is your quota. According to Ishopanishad, a man can live for thousands of years and go on working like that if he lives in that way. You accept what is your quota, and the rest belongs to God and his service. That is considered having. Because no object in this world actually bring happiness. As soon as you have it, its happiness quotient is finished. It diminishes and it becomes another thing. You see the famous Bollywood, Hollywood actresses, going through 4, 5, 6 marriages. In between, they have another 20, 30 relationships. So this is an enlightened state of consciousness in which first focus is on being. This being in Kali Yuga can easily happen by chanting Hare Krishna Maha mantra attentively. I will talk just 5 minutes about, and then we'll leave for questions and answers sometime. How in chanting Maha mantra these 3 modes of material nature act and how we can recognize them. Recognition is the first step. In ignorance, a person who's deeply influenced by ignorance, he will find that his chanting is inhibited by inertia. Inertia. I don't want to pick up my beads. I'm not feeling like chanting today. I don't want to complete my vow. And he will find that same state of existence about spiritual things. I don't want to read, I don't want to chant, anything but this. Bhaktivinoda Thakur explains this inattentive chanting as madness, pramada. He defines that inattention in different categories. The first category is inertia. And even if he chants, he gets distracted and he leaves it. Even if he chants, he gets distracted and he leaves it. This is tamas. In passion, he chants, but he will find restless mind. Is this really going to work? Well, maybe I should do something else. Well, no, I got so many plans. I got so many things to do. Sometimes our service responsibilities also impinge on the mind. I asked Bhakti Marg Swami Maharaj, when I chant, I think of my service. And he said it's better than thinking of other things, but the best thing to think is this chanting is service. And to think of Radha and Krishna and meditate that you are directly serving them in the spiritual world. It's better than thinking of other things, that my laundry list, my to-do list. In passion, the chanting is accompanied by a to-do list. And in passion, chanting is also accompanied by attraction and aversion. I like it, I don't like it. This person is good to me, this is not good to me. This is going to make me happy, this is not going to make me happy. Those thoughts repeatedly play in the mind. In ignorance, one feels direct envy and violence towards other living entities. The solution to it is more chanting. There is no other solution. The solution is attentive chanting. And in goodness, of course, there is freedom from pramada. So these are some thoughts about the modes of material nature. And Bhagavad Gita, please read this, 14th, 17th and 18th chapter, Krishna talks about different modes of nature, how mode of goodness can be cultivated. But the basic fundamental ideas have to be understood clearly and analyzed carefully. That what is driving my sense of final accomplishment or happiness? So I'll stop here. Any discussions about this? Any questions or comments?
So, Prabhu, thank you for explaining these things so nicely, so it's easy to understand. In all these 3 categories, so the do, for example, do is in all 3 columns, and in all 3 modes there is difference in that meaning of do. So is bhakti, if the bhakti is also categorized, if someone is in mode of ignorance and if that person does bhakti in that mode, if someone is in mode of passion and does bhakti, so the value of bhakti, does that also change or does it also have different meanings in different, for the person who is in different modes?
If I give you a nice Alfonso mango, red, juicy, cold, cut, peeled, and serve you on a platter, and I give you the most sour curry, curry, which do you think is better? Both are mango. Fundamentally, both are mango. Sweet rice, perfect sweetness, cold, saffron, almonds, pistachios, and sweet rice. And you can smell that the milk is burnt. Both are sweet rice. The person, we have to start from wherever you start. Yes? You have to start from wherever you start. Over a period of time, those modes, that's why I started my talk. Mam cha vyabhicharena, bhakti yogena sevate sagunan samatiti aitan. From ignorance, he will come to passion, from passion to goodness, from goodness to transcendental goodness. If he gets the association of advanced devotees, if he serves them, he doesn't commit offenses, his progress will be much faster.
But to that, if someone is doing devotional service in ignorance and passion, aren't the chances of making offenses increases?
Devotional service is a science. Please try to understand. Shruti Smriti Puran Adi, Pancharatrik Vidhim Vina, Ekantik Hari Bhakti Utpat Evahi Kevalam. That service, that devotional service, which is not authorized according to proper scriptures and proper rules and regulations, Vidhi, Pancharatrik Vidhi, Vina, Ekantik Hari Bhakti, such bhakti causes a lot of disturbance. So when you say devotional service which is authorized, I could be in mode of ignorance, but if I'm driving on the road, I drive 65, I stop at the stoplight and I stop at the red light. Then I don't get a ticket. What did I just do? I followed the rules. I followed a process. I followed something which was authentic, traditional, and following in the footsteps of the devotees. And I did a course correction. If the car veers, if I get a speeding ticket, next time for at least 1 year I will drive slowly until I get the next ticket. If I get 2 tickets, I'll drive slower. If I get 3 tickets, temporarily my license will be taken away. Temporarily. Even the materialistic government in 6 months reinstate your license. So Krishna gives you another opportunity. Whatever test you fail, that test, you start from right there. Then you pass a test. Then another test comes. Then another, then another. When you go in the ocean, on the surface, there are very small waves. But the people who go fishing, they know this. As they go deeper and deeper, the waves which come, they're even stronger and stronger. Until they can get to a certain point in the ocean. Whatever test you fail, that test will invariably be brought back to you by Krishna's mercy in 6 months, a year, 5 years, 10 years, 20 years. If you keep failing the test, then Krishna will create a situation where you can practice bhakti and not be disturbing and like that. Krishna, he controls the material nature. So he controls and helps the devotee. He makes arrangements. The difference between a sincere and insincere devotee is that sincere devotee repents when he makes mistakes, when he goes away from Krishna, when his service is taken away, when he feels that, I made mistakes, I committed offenses. He kind of sincerely repents, and he takes increasingly an intense shelter of hearing and chanting. It doesn't matter if he's in ignorance or passion. Somebody who's not sincere, he won't feel that way. He will justify his own actions. He'll give excuses and all of that, and then the modes of material nature also, it is our own choosing. It is our own choice. One time, a person came to Gaudiya Mutt in Calcutta. He was a big donor to that mutt. And he asked Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur one question. He says, I've been coming to this temple for 20 years. And when you contribute to something, you naturally want to see things flourish. He says that I've seen that some of your disciples have made a lot of spiritual advancement, but some have not. Why are you not correcting them? Why are you not doing something? Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur humbly replied. He said, let's say somebody has caught a tree and he's holding on to a tree. And I tell them to follow me. But they don't leave the tree. They're very attached to it. Very attached to it. Now what can I do? The modes, although binding, by the strength of devotional service, there comes windows of opportunity to overcome the modes. Gradually, progressively, and sequentially. If I am not going to leave it, then even God cannot do anything. Or then through some external suffering and through external force of Maya nature, Krishna makes arrangements to rectify his devotee. If he's sincere but there are certain things he's just not able to overcome it, Krishna then makes some arrangements. Hare. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Prem Vilas Prabhu ki. Devotees, let's all stand up for Kirtan.